on the video during the class, right? And this won't be recorded, right? Only I can see you, yeah, right? And operating team can, right? So better please switch on the video. So we were here. ABO blood group. So you'll get the question: who discovered the AB blood group, right? So that question even have been asked. So A, B, and O blood group have been discovered by Ladistin in 1900. Fine. And the AB blood group has been discovered by De Castello and Tasny, right? So they discovered the AB blood group. So that have been discovered. It had not been discovered by Ladistin. Then the blood group era in general. We are not talking about the exception over here. We are not talking about the blood groups which are out of the syllabus. By the way, there is one more blood group. There is a Bombay blood group, but that is not in our syllabus. So we'll discuss over here only AB, and O blood group, right? So the name of the blood group is on the basis of antigen. A blood group have A antigen, B blood group had B antigen, AB blood group have AB antigen, and O blood group do not have any antigen. In the last class, we discovered in detail what are the antigen and what are the antibody. Now, O blood group is considered as a universal donor. Why? Because it do not have any antigen on its surface. Now, A blood group have A antigen. That's why we call it. That's why it is called A blood group. But B antibody, it makes B antibody. B blood group have B antigen, but it makes A antibody. AB blood group have AB both antigen, A and B both antigen, but it do not have any antibody. That's why it is called universal recipient, right? Because it do not have any antibody. Fine. Antigen, in the last class, I already told you that antigen may be biological or non-biological, right? A biological antibody antigens are smoke, dust, chemical, and some other things, some gases. Biological antibodies are bacteria, viruses, protozoa, fungus, and foreign. What are the antibodies? Antibodies are a type of protein secreted by our WBC cells, and they remains dissolved in the blood for some time, for some months, or over the years. And whenever they come in contact with any bacteria or any agent, whenever they come in the contact with some bacteria or any other antigen, so what they do, they kill these antigens. So that is their function. Now come to the Rh factor. We know what is the A blood group, B blood group, AB blood group, and all that, right? And even this blood group have you must have studied it in your regular 12th class, right? This is already there in your genetics part, so you must have studied it in detail. But still, in this class, I want to share some knowledge with you. The blood group. Suppose that I have blood group A and even you have the blood group A. But there are fair enough chances that you have the A negative and I have A positive. So what is A negative and A positive? Suppose that I am A positive and you are A negative. You can give blood to me, but I cannot give my blood to you. Why? Look, what is the positive and negative blood group? So look, suppose that this is the RBC. On the blood cells, there are a covering of protein. This covering of protein may be present or may not be present, right? This covering of protein is called Rh protein, and in general, we also call it Rh factor. So Rh protein or Rh factor, if suppose that I have A blood group and Rh protein is present around my blood cells, then I will be A positive. A positive means the person have blood group with A antigen and around the blood cells Rh protein is present, right? Now, what is A negative or negative blood group? If the person have any particular blood group and Rh protein is not present around the cells, so we will call that person have negative blood. This blood group have been, this Rh protein or Rh factor have been discovered in rhesus monkey. So normally to study the human physiology, we use experimental organism rhesus monkey. So that's why it is called Rh, right? Rh stands for rhesus, and discovered in rhesus monkey. That's why we call it Rh. It was discovered by this positive and negative blood group, or we can say Rh factor, have been discovered by Ladistiner and Weiner. So positive blood group can given to negative one, but negative blood group cannot be given to positive one. Suppose that a person have negative blood group and we give him or her positive blood group, what will happen? And suppose that a person have A blood group and we given him B blood group, right? Or vice versa. So what will happen due to wrong blood group transfusion? What will happen? The blood cells will clump. They will stuck with each other, clumping. This is called clumping. This clumping of blood group will take place and a person will die. This clumping reaction is known as agglutinization. Tell me, is it clear or not until this point? We had discussed in last class, but still I want to know. Is it clear? Aisha, Rabia, is it clear to both?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Now, HDN, hemolytic disease of newborn. Tell me, this disease is already there in your genetics part, and you must have studied HDN. What is HDN? Who will tell me? Come on, quickly. HDN. Who is going to tell? Aisha, tell me something about the HDN. Are you going to tell me? Rabia?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, what about you? Yeah, I can see you after a long time. What happened? You was not there. Many of the classes you haven't joined there. Tell me HDN. This is in your genetics chapter.
So it's like a disease where the like the red blood cells of the mother, uh, takes it is mismatched with the fetuses.
Right.
Yeah.
In placenta, sorry, not in genetics. You must have studied this thing. Positive and negative blood group in genetics. You must have studied in that the development of the human fetus, placental part. Look, try to understand. This is question of 12th class as well as 11th class, and this question I've been asked 4 or 5 times in medical. What is HDN? HDN stands for hemolytic disease of newborn. What will happen? Rh positive, Rh negative, I have already told. Suppose that there is a mother. The blood group of mother is negative, any negative, O negative, A negative, B negative, AB negative, whatever that. The blood group of mother is negative, but the first baby which is inside the womb of mother have positive blood. Normally, this point to be noted from your 12th class. Normally, transfusion of blood do not take place between the fetus and mother through placenta. Does it take place or not? It does not take. So, what is the function of placenta? I want to know for a Gorian. Any of you, quickly. What is the function of placenta?
It gives nourishment to the baby.
A.
It gives nourishment to the baby.
Okay, yeah, fine. Anyone else? Look, the function of placenta. Please study the function of placenta. This question you will get. This question you can get this question in board. Function of placenta. Even you can get. You will get. Not most probably you will get this question. Function of placenta is very important question from human reproduction part, right? Look, the function of placenta. Placenta is a disc-like structure. From there, a cord arises that is called umbilical cord, and it get connected to the nail of the baby. Transfusion of blood do not take place, but transfusion of, or rather than transfusion, exchange of nutrient, exchange of excretory material, exchange of gases takes place, exchange of hormones takes place through placenta between the mother and the fetus which is present in the womb. But blood transfusion do not take. But sometime at the time of the birth, transfusion of blood, minutely transfusion of blood also takes. When transfusion of blood will take place, what will happen? Mother is negative blood, have mother negative blood group, but baby have the positive blood group. Because of this blood, so the body of the mother will feel the baby as antigen because of positive and negative blood group. So the body of mother will start making antibody against the first baby. But the first baby will take birth alive and it will remain alive. But against this positive blood group, antibody have been prepared already in the body of mother. Let's take the second example. Next time again, she is bearing the second baby. When she will bear the second baby and second baby have the positive blood group, what will happen against this positive blood group? Against this positive blood group, antibodies are already present in the body of mother. These antibody will kill the second baby and the second baby will die. This disease is called hemolytic disease of newborn baby. Is it clear or not?
Yes, sir.
Aisha, 100% clear? Aisha and Fia, clear?
Yes.
Great to listen that. Again, I want to add on something. But now the medical science has developed, it's modern. So previously it used to happen if the mother is negative blood group and first and second both baby or have positive blood group, the second baby won't survive. Because the mother body will assume it as antigen and will kill it. But nowadays, if doctor come to know that the first baby was positive and the second baby is positive, they will put immunosuppressant injection. So they will suppress the antibody of mother, and that's how even the second baby survives. So nowadays it do not die, but it used to happen. So that is all the scenario for this one. And please note down this fact. Do you want to note it down? Should I explain it or it's okay? All of you, do you want to note it down? Should I dictate it or it's okay?
Sir will note down.
Sir, can you write that?
Do you want to write it down?
Yes, sir.
Sure. Please write it down. First, please copy this thing, whatever is written on this in this one. Copy quickly. Then I will explain. Done? Noted? Please note down. If the mother is Rh negative, if mother is Rh negative and fetus blood is and fetus blood is Rh positive, full stop. Her first child does not suffer, although her first child does not suffer, although Rh positive blood, although Rh positive blood of fetus stimulate formation of anti-Rh factor, or anti okay anti-Rh factor or antibodies in mother's blood full stop. But if second fetus but if second fetus is Rh positive, the anti-Rh factor, the anti-Rh factor present in mother's blood will harm the fetus, full stop. The mother's body, the mother's blood will destroy the RBC of fetus, This is called HDN, or there is one more name, or erythroblastosis, pitulosis. Erythroblastis pitulosis. Clear? This is called HDN. Clear to all of you? So what is it left? What is the next one? The next one is that a pure blood group is RH. I told you coagulation of blood and then lymph, right? So what is the blood coagulation? So first, let me tell you what is the lymph. I think we have discussed lymph in the last class, even easy. So let me discuss with you. So I have already discussed you short that what is the lymph. Let me again explain you what is the lymph. Look, so this is the blood vessel. In the blood vessel, the blood keep on flowing, right? So the blood flow remains maintained. But you know the blood vessels, they are made up of some muscles like involuntary muscles, epithelial membrane. So these wall of the blood vessels, they are not perfectly impermeable. There are some gaps, there are some pores. So when blood flow with them, some part of the blood plasma leak out of these blood vessels, right? And in these gaps, some lymphocyte, mean WBC, also leak out. So this blood plasma and lymphocyte cells or WBC, they get collected between the cells or tissues and the blood vessels. This is called lymph, and lymph is known as the middleman. Why? Because oxygen, nutrient, and hormones, enzyme, whatever the blood carry, this is not directly given to the cells or tissue. So they give first it to the lymph, and then lymph provide it to the cells. Again, whatever the waste material cell produces, any nitrogenous waste, carbon dioxide, whatever the thing, cell do not give directly to the blood vessels. It is taken by first taken by the lymph, and then lymph transfer it to the blood vessel. So between the blood vessels and cells, there is a middleman, lymph, which help in the transfusion or transfer of material between the tissues and cells. That's why lymph is called middleman. Clear?
Yes.
Then this lymph or blood plasma keep on leaching out of the blood vessel. So what will happen? If it will keep on coming between this gap, so it will start accumulating between the cells and the lymph vessel. The organ and the body will start swelling. Second thing, what will happen? The quantity of the blood will reduce. So to meet out this solution, what happened? The extra lymph is collected by some vessels. There is another pipeline other than blood vessels, that is called lymphatic vessels. These lymph vessels or lymphatic vessels, they collect the extra lymph and drop it again into the blood vessels. So that's how the quantity of the blood remains constant, or it remains maintained. Between these lymph vessels, there are some knot-like structure, nodule-like structure. They are called lymph nodes, right? So lymph is made up of lymph plasma, which is basically the filtered blood plasma, and lymph carp cells. They are called lymphocyte cells, a type of WBC, a special type of WBC. Production of lymph also takes place in some organ called lymph organ or lymphatic organ. That is the question. This is very important question. This question has been asked: which of the following is lymphatic organ and lymph organ, or which of the following is not lymph organ or lymphatic organ? That type of the question you will see in the previous year question bank, right? So basically, lymphatic organs are those organs where the production of lymph nodes, production of the lymph and lymph cells take place. They are lymph node, tonsils, thymus gland, and spleen. Tell me, is it clear or not? And note down lymphatic organ and the composition of this lymph organ. Done? Noted? Aisha,
Done.
Savia, done?
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. Now the next important thing from where you will get the frequent question, this is the blood clotting. You have not to note it down like you have to note down in this schematic diagram, right? So first let me explain and you will get the question. You will see ample of question have been asked from this concept. Blood clotting, it's very, very important for me. HDN very important for me, right? RH factor very important for me. This blood clotting is very, very important for me. Okay. So what happened? Whenever, what is the blood clotting? So clotting is a process. Why clotting takes place and why it is important. So when we fell down, we get injured, right? Any body part get injured. So at the time of injury, what happened? Blood come direct in contact with the air. So when blood come in the contact with the air, the anti-clotting factor, like heparin, is stop one. And blood, so at that point, coagulation of blood takes place, right? Clotting of blood takes place. And that prevent excess flow of the blood. That is beneficial. After some time, this gel become harder and harder, and it fill that gap, and it prevents the loss of the blood of the body during the injury. How does this clotting take place? Right, that is a question. How does this clotting take place? So let me explain you and try to understand. So clotting is good when it is outside of the body and at the time of injury. Injured tissue get injured when we fell down. Because of that injury, tissue get injured and blood platelet start dying or disintegrate because the blood cells die. So when tissue get injured tissue release a type of enzyme that is called thromboplastin. In the same time, blood platelet disintegrate because of injury. They release platelet factor 3. This platelet factor 3 is also known as the platelet thromboplastin. So platelet thromboplastin and thromboplastin, in the presence of calcium and protein, they react. In the presence of calcium and protein, they produces prothrombinase enzyme, right? They produces a prothrombinase enzyme. Now, what is the function of prothrombinase enzyme? This prothrombinase enzyme, it inactivates heparin, which is anti-clotting agent. First thing, it inactivates heparin and it catalyzes a reaction. What reaction? Prothrombinase enzyme will convert prothrombin into thrombin protein. Thrombin is a solid protein. Now, what will happen? This thrombin protein will convert fibrinogen into fibrin. Fibrin and thrombin both are the solid protein and they make blood clot. And this blood clot prevent the excess flow of the blood. So this is the complete story behind the blood clotting process. Tell me, is it clear? And if you have any doubt, please ask. Any of you. Ask me if you have any doubt. Clear? And if it is clear, please note down it as it is. Note down this. This is the easiest way. I have made this diagram by myself. So please note it down. This is the easiest way to learn the schematic diagram. Plotting process. and let me know when you note it down. Done? Aisha, done?
Yes.
Priya, is it okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. So now next thing, blood clotting we did it, then lymph we did it, circulatory pathway. So there are two kind of, that is just for sake of information. You won't get any question from this part. This is just for conceptual build-up. So there are two kind of circulatory system, open and closed circulatory. In open circulatory system, there is no any artery or vein, right? You won't get any artery or vein will not be there for the blood flow. Such kind of the pipeline will not be present in the body of animal. Blood remains filled in spaces called lacuna. So suppose that this is the arthropod, this is the insect, right? So insects have open blood circulatory system. So what happened inside the body of insect? This blood or these spaces are called lacuna. In these lacuna, blood remains filled, right? These organ remains floating on this in this blood. So this organ bath in the blood, right? Organ bath in the blood. So there is a no circulatory system, such kind of a circulatory system like blood vessels. So and this spaces are lacuna. So blood remains filled in spaces called lacuna. Organ bath in the blood. They may or may not have heart. Heart may be present or may not have, but they will not have artery and vein, right? So this is called open circulatory system. This is found open circulatory system found in arthropoda, right? And like roundworm, starfish, so they have the open circulatory. So this is open circulatory. Now, what is the closed circulatory? In closed circulatory system is found basically in mammals. In closed circulatory system, blood flow in artery and vein. So there is a heart. From heart, oxygenated or pure blood is transferred to the rest of the part of the body or tissues. Artery carry oxygenated or pure blood. They take it to the tissue or organ. Tissue or organ take oxygen, and in return they give carbon dioxide to the blood. Blood takes carbon dioxide. It come back. So this carbon dioxide blood or uh, uh, this is called impure blood or deoxygenated blood. Deoxygenated blood is carried through a particular vessels called veins. Vein pour it into the heart. So blood flow in this circular pathway, and that's why it is called closed circulatory system, right? So blood flow in closed vessels. That's why we call it closed circulatory system. All vertebrate have muscular heart and divided into chamber. Pisces have two-chamber heart. Species have two-chamber heart. Amphibians have three-chamber heart. Reptiles have three-chamber heart. Here the exception is crocodile. Crocodile is a reptile, but it have the four-chamber heart, right? Apes, that birds have four-chamber heart. Mammals have four-chamber heart. Whale and bat is a mammal, and they are four-chamber heart. Both whale and bat have been asked. So tell me, is it clear? Chamber, you can note it down. Examples you can note. That is important. Whale have been asked, bat have been. I suggest you, will you note down the example? Done? Noted?
Yes.
Okay. Now, double circulatory system. Even this thing you need to understand. Need not to. This is not part of it. So, in double circulatory system, just do you know, or should I recap it? Keep on telling me, frankly. Rabia, Aisha, should I tell you or you know it? All of you. If you know it, why should I waste time? Tell me at least something.
Yes, sir.
Should I go through with it or you know it?
Sir, you just go through it in a summary from where to where it just pumps like that in a summary.
Sorry, I didn't got your voice. Actually, your voice is breaking.
Just go through it like a summary, sir, very shortly.
Achha, okay, in very short way. Fine. So just I will go through with it. Fine. Look, this is our lungs, right? So these are the lungs. We have studied the respiratory part. So what happened? This is our heart. Heart is made up of 4 chambers. The lower chamber are called ventricle. So this is right ventricle. This is left ventricle. First chamber, this one. This is first chamber, right atrium, and this is left atrium. Fine. So what happened? These are the tissues of our body. So peripheral tissues, the capillaries are spread everywhere. So these tissues, they bring from these tissues, capillary bring the deoxygenated blood or the blood with the carbon dioxide. So this blood with the carbon dioxide or deoxygenated blood, it is black blood, or black blood means impure blood, right? So rather than black blood, I would like to call it impure blood, right? So impure blood is taken through the veins, right? And this impure blood is poured into right atrium or right auricle. So in right auricle or right atrium, it is poured through a largest vein called vena cava, right? So vena cava is of two part. This is post vena cava. This is pre vena cava. So they pour blood into the right atrium. So deoxygenated or carbon dioxide blood is poured, or impure blood is poured into right atrium. So from right atrium, blood move into left atrium. Right ventricle. From right atrium, blood will move into right ventricle. From right ventricle, this blood is sent to the lungs, right? The pipeline or the vessel which take into the lung, it is called pulmonary artery. Pulmonary artery is the only artery which carry the deoxygenated blood. Otherwise, the function of artery to carry the oxygenated blood. This is the only artery in the body which carry deoxygenated blood. Now, the diffusion of gases takes place in the lungs, in the alveoli. We have studied that concept in detail in the human respiration part. Lungs release out the carbon dioxide, and in return they take back the oxygen from the atmosphere. Now the deoxygenated blood become oxygenated. This oxygenated blood again sent to the left chamber of auricle or left atrium through a pipeline or vessel that is called pulmonary vein. Pulmonary vein is the only vein which carry oxygenated blood. Otherwise, rest veins of the body, they carry deoxygenated blood. This blood reaches to the left atrium. From left atrium, this blood reaches to the left ventricle. From left ventricle, it is sent to the rest part of the body, and the vein, the artery which take this oxygenated blood or supply this oxygenated blood to the part of the body or part of the tissues. This is called aorta. Aorta is the largest artery. Aorta supply the oxygenated blood to the rest of the body, and this is called double circulation. Why? Because there are two cycles, double cycles. First cycle between the heart to the lungs. This is called pulmonary cycle, because pulmonus term means lungs. So from heart, the blood is circulated between the heart and the lungs. This is called pulmonary cycle. Second cycle, the circulation between the tissues and the heart. So this is called systemic cycle. Systema term stands for tissue. Systema means tissue. That's why the cycle is called systemic cycle. So double circulation is composed of two cycles, pulmonary circulation and systemic circulation. That's why human circulatory system is called double circulatory system. Tell me. Is it clear? If you have any question, please ask. This was double circulation. Hope it should be clear to all of you. Could we go ahead?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Anatomy of heart is not that much important. You can note down some factual things. In males, this is important. The weight of the heart that have been asked. So in males, the heart is between 280 to 340 grams. In female, the size of the heart is 230 to 280 grams. So comparatively, female have a smaller heart than male. Heart remains covered with a membrane, that is protective membrane, made up of epithelium, that is called pericardial membrane. This pericardium is a membrane which cover the heart. It is made up of epithelium. Between the heart and that membrane, so there is a pouch-like structure. Inside that pouch, heart remains covered or packed. So between heart and that membrane, there is a fluid that is called pericardial fluid. This fluid prevent the friction, right? And one more important thing, that is a question. Heart also need oxygen. Heart also need blood supply. So who provide or which vessel provide oxygenated blood or oxygen to the heart? That question I've been asked. This is the coronary artery, right? This coronary artery supply oxygenated blood to the heart. And there is a coronary vein. That coronary vein bring back deoxygenated blood to the heart. Please note down this one. This factual point. Please note that. This is important. Coronary artery have been asked already twice. Note down, please. Done? Okay. Fine. So next is let me brief you what is the circulation of the blood. So look, these walls are important. Walls, keep your eye on walls, right? Wall. Fine. What are the wall? Wall prevent the backflow of the blood. Look. The oxygenated blood from the lower organ come through this this pipeline is called inferior vena cava, and from the upper body organ, it comes from the superior vena. Superior vena cava drop and inferior vena cava, both vena cava drop blood into right atrium. In the right atrium, blood comes. Superior vena cava do not have any wall, right? Because they drop obliquely. But between the inferior vena cava and right atrium, there is a valve called Eustachian valve, right? First valve is Eustachian valve. Please note down. Eustachian valve present between Eustachian valve, spelling is written over here. Eustachian valve is found between right atrium and inferior vena cava, which prevent backflow. Full stop. Which prevent backflow. Full stop. Superior vena cava do not have any valve, as it open oblique. Next, now look, coronary vein, right? Coronary vein open into the right atrium. What is coronary vein? In the last slide, I told you coronary vein is the vein which bring deoxygenated blood from heart. It pour into right atrium. So there is a Thebesian valve, or it is called coronary valve, right? It prevents backflow of the blood in coronary vein. So please note down. Thebesian valve or coronary valve. Thebesian valve or coronary valve present between right atrium and coronary vein, which prevent backflow. Next, between right atrium and right ventricle, the when blood comes from right atrium to right ventricle, there is a tricuspid valve. These are the 3 half cup shaped valves, so they are called tricuspid valve. They prevent backflow. So third valve, tricuspid valve, present between right atrium and right ventricle to prevent backflow. Fourth valve, pulmonary semilunar valve. When from right ventricle blood goes into pulmonary artery, the backflow is prevented by pulmonary semilunar valve, right? Please note down. Pulmonary semilunar means half moon shape. Pulmonary means lungs, right? Pulmonary semilunar valve prevent backflow between pulmonary artery and right ventricle. Then between left atrium and left ventricle, there is a bicuspid valve, two half cup shape. They are also known as the mitral valve. This have been asked. Next, between left atrium and left ventricle, there are bicuspid valve, also known as mitral valve. Last but not the least, when blood flow from left ventricle to aorta, between aorta and left ventricle, there is a aortic semilunar valve, which prevent backflow from the aorta. So please note down. Aortic semilunar valve, aortic semilunar valve are found between aortic semilunar valve are found between aorta and left ventricle to prevent backflow. Valve are very important. Bicuspid have been asked, Eustachian have been asked, Thebasian have been asked. These three valve have been asked already. Right. Is that clear? All valve clear to all of you? Rabia, Aisha?
Yeah.
Fia, clear? Okay. So that's it for the day. In the next class, we'll start from this onward, right? Bye-bye. Good night.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, welcome.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, welcome.